Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Sorry, there was some connectivity issue. I was unable to turn on the projector, so it's on now. Would not take much of your time today. So, before I start for today, uh, can I ask about your exam status? So, starting from you, which was? That's nice. In this December session, best wishes for SBL. AFM in December, best wishes for AFM. That's nice. Best wishes. Triple A in December. And all of you guys are done with only one professional. That's your last, second last, second, second. Perfect. Online ones, can I have your feedback on the similar lines? Uh, so I can see Ramin, Sarem, Vasik, tea cafe wale se डालो. Can I have feedback from you guys? Ramin, this is your first paper, noted. What about others? Okay. Best wishes, Sarem, for your result. But that's nice, Vasik. So it sounds to me you are done with your ACCA. You are attempting ATX. Okay, perfect. So this is what I'm assuming, and I was just confirming. Perfect. That's great. Good to hear from all of you. Um, with regard to ATX, one thing which I just want to share, ATX probably is one of the paper in professional which would require a lot of practice, because if I were to share some of the stats with you, just a sec. So if I were to share some of the stats with you, uh, hmm. So if I were to share some of the stats with you, in ATX, there is approximately, you can say, 60 to 70% of TX and 30 to 40% is your new areas. Third, 30 to 40% is new areas. New areas are the ones which is like not part of the F6 syllabus. So it there are some of the defined topics which were not part of the TX, but there are some of the topics with respect to TX in which you will find more in-depthness over here. Like, just to give you a reference, IA 16. We have studied IA 16 first time in FA2, if I'm not wrong. Then F3, then and SBR as well, right? Can you say you are done with 100% of IA 16? I can tell the answer is no. Like, there are still some in-depth element in IA 16, which is still not part of the SBR syllabus as well. One of the important feature is about the disclosure, and there are some complex or one-off accounting treatments as well. This is what I encountered in my ICAW exam when I appeared for my ICAW exam back in 2012. I saw the question on IA 16 and I was like, IA 16, we are doing it since our childhood of accounting. FA2, F3, F7, SBR. But the requirement was so unique, and I did that on purely judgmental basis. So in the same way, in so many instances of TX, we were like, that's it. There are some more concepts relating to this. We will cover that, but not as part of our TX, but that will be part of ATX. And let me tell you very honestly, in ATX, in so many places, you will still hear the same statement. Full stop. Beyond this, yes, if you are thinking that's right, but that's not in our syllabus. So again, ATX also has some boundaries with respect to text. Um, can I ask, just a by the way sense, when you guys appeared for your TX exams, so Ramin, Sarim, Vasek plus the physical ones, December 22. So it's like 2 years from now, December 23. It's September 22, September 24. Oh, that's nice. Amazing. So the reason being I was asking this question, let me say back in 22, 2 years back, one left, Ramin, your feedback left. So why I was asking this question, because examiner expectation is you are already, oh, that's good to know, Ramin. So there are two students who belongs to 24 and one belongs to 23 and rest belongs to 22. Examiner expectation is you guys would be 100% well versed with this because you are already done with the TX. This is what you need to learn over here. This is the examiner expectation. But reality is so different from the expectation. And being a TX teacher, I can tell you the day you appear for the exam and once you are done with the exam, TX with this bad tendency, you forget half of the syllabus. Once you are back from home from the exam center, you forgot half of the paper. And rest half of the paper we forgot when we got the result. Alhamdulillah, pass. Rest of the 50% gone. So unluckily for me as a ATX teacher, the problem is students sitting over here, they do not recall any of the thing relating to TX. Is my understanding correct? It should not be for you at least. So this is my understanding and this is my expectation or this is my assumption that students who are studying ATX, even I can say 1, 2 batches back, they do not recall the TX stuff. So here in ATX, what makes it more lengthy, we need to revise these all. I'm not using the word learn these all. I'm using the word revise these all because this is something which you are aware. It's become back of your mind. You do not recall it. That is something different. But since you are in ATX, so I cannot make a question. Do you know this or not? So for these areas, we need to, and since we need to revise them, let's make this ATX is one of the lengthiest syllabus of professional exam, lengthiest syllabus. So if I ignore this, if I assume TX, it's your baby, you have to manage it, get it revised from your F6, books, register, etc., then it would not be a very huge area. But my assumption is other way around, which is more realistic. You do not recall anything relating to TX. Here in the class, we need to learn ATX stuff, and I'm calling this as ATX stuff. And we need to revise the TX stuff. So, like I said, it's not the case. There are defined topics of new areas. They are embedded in some of the existing topics which you have learned in your TX syllabus. Like, let me give an example. If you guys do recall capital gains tax, just giving you an example. In capital gains tax, there were some calculations, how to calculate the tax, and there were some reliefs as well. If remembered, that's great. If do not, then I really don't mind. What were the reliefs? Do you recall? Any name? Okay. Annual exemption. And any relief? Repeat it. PPR. No worries. Oh, that's great. Good to hear this. Rollover relief, similar kind of holdover relief. That's great. Gift, holdover relief, and That is the residential one. PPR along with, good to see the feedback from online ones as well. BADR was a great. I was waiting for this. BADR, good. Investor relief. So I'm not going into detail further. There were other reliefs as well. So if you ask me today in ATX, all of these things are there. But in every situation, not in every situation, in some of the reliefs, there are some more in-depthness of the reliefs, more complex rules relating to the relief first, and there will be plus 1 to 2. And one thing which makes ATX very interesting is the concept of interaction between different reliefs. What do you understand from this interaction between different reliefs? Like in a given situation, if conditions for 2 or 3 reliefs are met, then which relief we should opt for? We should, I'm just saying, let's suppose in a given situation, 1, 2, 3, conditions for all these 3 reliefs are met, right? Then which relief we should opt, which relief we should not opt. Again, there are some factors, there are some considerations. In ATX, that was never ever the discussion. Sorry, in TX, that was never ever the discussion. In TX, it is very crystal clear, like you need to apply BADR. I'm picking up from this. You need to apply rollover relief. How much gains will be rolled over? Fine. But here you need to think which relief or reliefs can be applicable. And if 2 or 3 reliefs are applicable, which one we should pick. So that is the very interesting area. Even in the calculations front, there are plus 1 to 2 new concepts over here. So new concepts are there. Okay. In the same way, if I talk about second topic, IHT, good, bad, or average. As a topic in TX, is it a good topic, bad topic, or average? Achha, what does the word good means? Like easy to understand, easy to calculate? Much easier than capital gains. Good one. So I can tell you the IHT which you have studied in TX is approximately 50% of ATX IHT. It means in IHT, there are 50% new areas. Next, value added tax. Same question. Good topic, like easy, difficult, easiest. So there are some of the students who find this topic difficult because their perspective is this topic contains a lot of theory. I really don't know how much do you guys agree. So easy, difficult, easy, average, difficult. Okay. Online ones, your feedback is missing from the previous one and this one both. So VAT is 100% here. 100% VAT is here. Like whatever you have studied in TX, that is 100% here. Plus, in addition to that, there are 3 to 4 more concepts over here, like 3 to 4 more concepts, something which was not part of the TX. So there are 3, 4 more concepts. Move forward. After that, the next is Income tax, one of the lengthiest topic of TX, right? Income tax consists of property income. Income tax consists of income tax consists of interest, dividend, good one, pension income. Along with trading, I like to add partnership. Along after pension, we have concept of what was GAD? An unscheduled test. What was GAD? Gifted donations, pension payments, these kind of things would be was part of this. And oh, NICs, one of the most hated topics by students in TX is, I know, again, let's be realistic and practical. And probably the last thing of income tax is, if you recall, fine, we have calculated the tax. What's the timeline? What's the due date to pay the tax? What's the due date to submit the tax? Right? So that was the self-assessment. That's good to know, Vasik. Now, if you ask me with respect to income tax, property income, is it changed? The answer is no. The principles to calculate property income remains the same. Even I can tell you property income is 100% same, like nothing, even a single new concept over here. Employment income, there are plus 2 to 3 concepts. Other than that, every employment income aspect is here in ATX. Every employment income aspect means, for example, in employment income, if you recall, first we have the concept of taxable benefits, car benefit, fuel benefit, etc., etc. Then we have a list of exempt benefits. Something can be deducted from employment income. All these things are there, but there are some new concepts as well. Okay. Trading income. Trading income consists of 3 broad areas. One was tax adjustments. What was tax adjustments? What? Good one. Very good. Allowed, not allowed element. This is allowed. Sorry, not allowed, add back, allowed, do nothing type of stuff. Second important thing was capital allowances, or what does SBA stands for? Good one. So that's perfectly fine. Building allowance, I'm happy to hear this. That's structure, building, and allowances. So these concepts are here. But the things which were very rare in TX from examination perspective, from exam kit perspective, they become bit prominent over here. Okay. So the things which are like, was part of TX, but very rarely examined because of the complexity, etc., etc. These things will be frequently observed over here. Any third thing relating to trading income? Probably not belong to the ones who attempted in 24, earlier ones. If you recall, there was a concept of basis period, one of the most hated topic of TX, basis period. And many of the students, based on my own experience, they are like, rectify this. Understanding, I really doubt. But, huh? But the good thing is, this concept is no more applicable in Finance Act 23. So it is not removed or not part of the syllabus because it's not the TX ATX difference. It's due to the change in Finance Act. So whenever there is change in Finance Act, tax authorities introduce new rules, regulations type of stuff. Under the new rules, regulations, this concept is finished, abolished. So currently TX students, they do not study this. Interest, dividend, pension. I would say there are some more in-depth discussions relating to these topics. Okay. Pension payment, gifted donations. Again, same thing goes. Some more in-depth discussions. NICs, I would say same. No change. Losses. Most, one of the most, so 2, 3 most hated topics. Losses is one of those. What makes losses difficult? Just asking. Okay. Duration makes it difficult. And online ones. What makes losses difficult? So that's a personal belief is different losses have different calculations, different consequences, different ways to adjust it. And I don't know why. Memorizing those different ways makes this difficult. In TX, the main emphasis was to adjust the loss. That's it. In ATX, the more or the main emphasis is to calculate the tax saving from adjusting the loss. Right? Like in times of profit, we pay tax. In times of losses, it supports to save tax. How much tax would you save if you adjust the loss? I'm just saying current year or carry back or carry forward. What will be the amount of savings? ATX has more discussion, more emphasis on these lines now. Self-assessment. Majorly same. So probably uh, 1, 2 line new concepts, but majorly same. Then if I move further forward, the next was in my personal view, if you are good in income tax, corporation tax would not be a very difficult topic condition if you are good in income tax. But if you are not good in income tax, this will also make your life miserable. Corporation tax. Key topics were calculation of corporation tax, self-assessment, losses, one more very important concept, group aspects, group loss group, capital gains group. Being TX teacher, I know you guys, students, do not give a very much emphasis on these areas. I know, but here they are very important. So, calculation of tax, it's same plus some new adjustments. What does the word new adjustments means? Means something, some allowed, not allowed type of stuff, which was not part of the TX. Okay. Self-assessment. Losses. Losses. Again, main focus is on if I ask your opinion, would this topic be important? Just asking. Why? Okay, this is on text lining. That's a good valid point. So his feedback is this topic would be important. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I asked the rationale why. So he has a very valid point. And I agree. It would be important in ATX. Yes, no. Yes, no, probably yes. Online ones again silent. I don't know why. Okay, let me give you a bit context. F3, F7, and those who have studied SBR. One very important topic across these three syllabuses is consolidation. F3, consolidation, always examinable. F7, SBR. It has a section A question, right? If I'm not wrong, right? So how can you expect in ATX group aspects would not be important? So this is something which is very important. I agree with you. In TX, it was not important at all. But in ATX, this is very important topic. This is something which I was discussing what was in TX and its reflection in ATX. Now, let me have word on few of the topics which are completely new. Probably not listing down, but just sharing with you. One of the very important concept is overseas aspects. Overseas aspects across all of the taxes. Income tax, corporation tax, VAT, inheritance tax, capital gains tax. Considering the globalization these days, should it be important? Very important. So, and just to give you a context, the first step of this overseas aspects is determining residency. Do you recall? We studied this in TX, determining auto residency test, auto non-residency test, ties test table was given. We need to look for the ties. A person UK resident. Now, the point is, if a person is UK resident, what will be his tax consequences? If a person is not UK resident, what will be his tax consequences? So, like I can tell you, determining residency was very important in TX. In every exam paper, at least one MCQ must be there from this topic. In the same way, I would not say every exam setting, every alternate exam setting, determining residency, whether a person is resident, not resident, must be there. Overseas aspects. Overseas aspect means, just imagine, I live in Pakistan, I work in Pakistan. If I have any overseas income, let's say if I have any income from UK, am I supposed to pay tax in Pakistan on that? A thought process. If I have any asset in UK and I dispose of that asset from Pakistan, am I supposed to pay capital gains tax on that asset? either in Pakistan or in UK. So just think about globalization. And in fact, I can tell you, since last 4 5 years, I hope you guys would be aware about the talent export from Pakistan. Every year, how many Pakistanis are going abroad? Just thousands, 0.5 million. On average, last, I can tell you about from 2019, 18, 19. On average, per year figure is 1 million persons with family, huh? So with family means at least 0.75 million would be skilled person. Like I'm keeping 0.25 would be housewives, children type of stuff. So are they supposed to pay tax in Pakistan? Again, I'm not giving any verdict, just a thought process behind this topic. So this topic is very, very important. It has implications in VAT, it has implications in capital gains, it has implications in IHT, CGT, income tax, companies. Yes, they still have consequence of this. Okay. Um, After overseas, any other very important topic? So after not very important, which was not part of the TX overall. One concept is called as stamp taxes. Like we have concept in Pakistan, stamp duty on purchase of car or on sale of car, on sale of house. Are we supposed to pay stamp duty? We need to make a transaction on a stamp paper, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 1000 rupees, etc., etc. That is a tax which we are paying to the government. Similar type of concept exists for stamp taxes. I'm not making a very huge list. In the similar way, there are some topics which were not part of the TX at all. At all. Okay. So these topics are there, but just giving you an example. Corporation tax, calculation of corporation tax. Some new adjustments would already be part of that particular topic. Okay. Um, how the paper would look like. How the paper slash exam would look like. Paper exam is divided into two sections. One, um, section A and one section B. For section A, there will be one question, total of 50 marks. Section B, 25 marks, 25 marks. Of this total, the marks is divided into two categories. The total is like 100, right? The marks is divided into two categories. One is technical marks and one is of this 50, 40 are technical, 10 are professional skill. Of this 25, 25, in this 40, there would be 5 marks would ethics be new in ATX? The answer is no. Ethics is same, like code of conduct, 5 ethical principles. ACCA code of conduct, 5 ethical principles. integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, professional behavior, threats to independence, self-interest, self-review, advocacy, intermediation, familiarity threat. Great. Everything is same. So what's change over here? What's change over here is capacity to think would change. Like previously, in most of the cases, you would have applied these principles in capacity of auditor, right? Here, you need to apply these principles in capacity of tax advisor or a tax consultant. So just imagine, I'm a tax consultant of company X. I'm a tax consultant of company X. The director of company X has approached me for tax advice. The director of company X has approached me for tax advice. Okay. Any issue? Yes, no. I can see a potential conflict of interest. I can feel how conflict of interest. Probably one advice which is in the benefit of company might not be benefit of employees, and it would be vice versa. Like any advice, it might be uh, beneficial to the employee, would not beneficial to the company. Is it theoretically possible? How would you manage, like, there is a I'm using the word potential, I'm not saying actual, potential conflict of interest. How do you manage it? Again, matter of ethics. How do you manage it? Okay. Definitions are same. Like I said, definitions are same. Ethical principle, threats, everything same. What would change over here? Capacity to think would change. Okay. Professional skills. Okay. So very interestingly, if you look, technical marks 80, of which 5 marks is on ethics. It means pure text related marks. Pure text related marks are 20 is professional skills. You need to demonstrate certain skills. We will discuss what are those skills. 5 marks on ethics. So 25 marks are, I would say, non-text related. 75 marks are text related. And of this 75, at least 5 marks on VAT. VAT is like 2 chapters of the book, maybe, maybe 80 to 100 pages of the book, textbook. For rest of the book, 70 marks. Okay. Mm, taking a bit pause for your feedback, if any. I can sense one question, which would be the theory or calculation mix. If I ask your opinion, what will be the theory calculation mix over here? More calculation, more theory, more theory. Online ones, can I have your feedback on this? Preeti, Ramin, Sarem, Vasik. 70 theory, 30 calculation. Preeti, 60-40. More calculation, I guess. So approximately theory is like 60 to 70%. And calculation is like, but theory. Theory is not that typical F5 or F7 ratios type of theory. Theory over here is mainly explanation of, like, just to share with you, I do recall my SBR paper. My SBR paper. I attempted SBR back in 2009, December 2009. I do recall today there was section A, consolidation, 50 marks. Of 50, 35 marks consolidated cash flow calculation. Rest of the 15 marks are based on theory. Okay. Section B, 2 questions. I even did not touch the calculator for section B. All is based on theory. But what type of theory was there? So is it something which you need to think? Probably no. What kind of theory was there? It is more explanation of calculations. Like, defining a routine. We need to do this, then this, then this, then this. Probably while calculating, whatever we start calculating, we first need to write as part of theory. We generally need to write it. uh, Very few have attempted SBR, right? So in SBR, those who have attempted, they have a very fair idea. In SBR, there is a very less calculation in exam, but SBR is generally considered as calculation based paper. In the similar way, ATX is considered as a calculation based paper, but more it is explain. So calculation itself is very little. More it is about explanations. Okay. Um, that's it about the paper. Uh, Probably last thing from my side, which I want to talk about is study approach. So before I start discussing, any question? No defined topics for section A or section B or section C. But what I can tell you is, just give you an example. If individuals income tax is examined in section A, I'm just giving an example. Section B would be based on corporation tax. Section C would be based on capital taxes of individuals. Capital taxes means capital gains tax, inheritance tax. If we have corporation tax in section A, section B, one question income tax, one question on capital taxes. One thing which I missed to write, which should write, is the concept of anti-avoidance. What do you understand from this word? Anti-avoidance legislation. Tax avoidance. Is it good or bad? Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase my question. Tax avoidance. Is it legal or illegal? It is legal, right? Question number 2. Tax avoidance. Can it be unethical? No. So legal is something else, legal, illegal, and ethical, unethical is something else. Legal, illegal, we are very clear. Tax avoidance is legal. Can it be? I'm not saying always. Can it be unethical? You thinking? Can it be unethical? No. So just imagine if you are avoiding the tax by genuine ways, it's fine. But if you are changing the structure of that transaction to benefit for the loopholes in tax, let me simplify. Do you recall any spouse related exemption in tax? Like I can tell you from IHT, if you transfer the asset to a spouse, exempt. If you transfer the spouse, if you transfer the asset to a spouse, capital gains, no gain, no loss. Okay. I did a paper marriage, right? Transfer the asset to another person to avoid the tax. Is it tax avoidance? Yes. Is it legal? Is it ethical? So ethics is superior than law always. Like ethic, law cannot be breached. So ethics is like your soft trigger, but law is like your hard trigger. So the point is tax avoidance. I love tax avoidance because it helps me in saving the tax. Would HMRC like the tax avoidance, especially the unethical tax avoidance? No. So HMRC at times makes the law to avoid the tax avoidance. HMRC at times make the law to avoid, to overcome the tax avoidance, and such things, such concepts are called as, such concepts are called as. So while studying this particular topic, first we understand how the tax can be avoided, and then we will learn what HMRC made to avoid or overcome this tax avoidance. Okay. Anything before I start last discussion for today, steady approach. So my friend, very honestly, uh, recordings I do not recall, very honestly. But normally when we teach over here in physical classes, it used to be around 130, 140 hours. But obviously for recordings, it would not be this much. It would be very roughly speaking, 80 to 90 hours. 80 to 90. And online ones. No, should I start this study approach? Okay, the study approach will be for the session March 25. I'm going to share a planner with you guys, which you must follow. By the way, I hope you all of you would be aware. This is more of a pre-recorded classes. On weekly basis, we will be meeting physically. Weekly basis, we will be meeting physically. And our meetup would have two agendas mainly. What will be those two agendas? The first agenda would be to discuss your queries. So for example, if you faced any kind of problem during your lectures, you can discuss that in your physical class. Second, once we are done with the queries, then second phase of the class would be to solve the. I would be sharing a planner with you guys, which must be followed, which must be followed. Following this planner, there would be weekly queries session, queries slash exam kit session, and this is your planner. So we are here today at 14th December, right? By next Saturday. So every weekend date is like Saturday. By next Saturday, you should have to be done with this topic. We will be having class on this date, this time, two agendas. One agenda would be to discuss the query relating to this topic. Second, to solve the exam kit relating to this topic. Okay. Then week 2, this topic should be covered. Class, time, queries first, exam kit. 4th, 11th, 18th, 25th, 1st Feb, then 8th Feb. General query session, ethics, plus planning, plus professional skills marks. Discussion of professional skills marks. So if you guys follow this planner, we would be done, inshallah, on 8th Feb with the syllabus. Okay. By this time, by this time, I really do not advise to solve exam kit at your own. By that time, if you need practice in addition to your class notes, you should follow test your understandings, illustrations, examples from textbook. You should start exam kit. Exam kit should start from 9th Feb. And if my friend, very honestly, even if you start at 9th Feb, you would have approximately a complete month to solve the exam kit. And it is doable, like in a month. Those who already attempted professional exams on CB platform, they would have a very fair idea how the CB platform for professional papers looks like. But those who are appearing for ATX as their first exam, in addition to ATX, they need to learn how the platform looks like for the professional exams, because one of the most important differences in fundamentals, whether you have to attempt the question on spreadsheet or Word, that relevant space is given. In professional exams, spreadsheet is given, Word is given. You need to decide where you want to answer the question. You want to answer the question on a spreadsheet, your choice. You want to answer the question on Word, your choice. Okay. So, by the way, these live classes will also be recorded. They would be available to you guys. Point number one. Point number two, as always, these PDFs will be shared with you guys in a shared folder. I'm just waiting for your WhatsApp group. Once I have that, at least for this, I'll share a link with you guys so that you guys would get these PDFs. PDFs relating to classes that would be available at your portal, recordings on your portal. Okay. By the way, for class notes, hard copy is available with the photocopier. You can take the hard copy. Soft copy is also available. So up to you, your choice. You want to use hard copy to contact the photocopier. If you want to use the soft copy, annotated and unannotated, both copies would be available at your portal. Okay. And last, not the least, it's not like since we have a weekly query session, you are not allowed to ask the questions during the week. You can drop your questions in your group whenever you guys are studying, whenever you feel to ask any type of question. If I feel appropriate to answer the question on group, if the query is of a nature which can be addressed in a group by voice message, by simple message, I would respond. But if query is of nature, which I would be like, no, we need a detailed discussion on this, or it's better to discuss with everyone, then probably I'll table that particular query or confusion in this class. So with this, I'm done. Now your question, if any. So with respect to this weekly planner, one advice to you guys. If you guys do not follow this planner, drag your videos, drag your lectures consequences. Probably for you attending the query session would not be fruitful because you are not done with that particular topic, right? If you do it early, like if you do it before 8th Feb, okay? If you do it before 8th Feb, then it would give you more time for the practice. So the ball is more in your court as compared to mine. This is the bottom line for last 10-15 minutes of discussion. Now, any question from your side? So I'm done. Nothing further from my side. Your questions. So I would say recording would cover F6 element as well. Yes. When you use the word detail, I really don't know what's your expectation. So I'm just giving an example. Just a second. So just imagine this one, BADR. I can tell you in TX, if I were to cover this in a recording should be at least 1 hour. Okay. In ATX, would the recording be 1 hour, more than 1 hour, less than 1 hour? How much? Just hypothetical, huh? If you are saying this 30 to 45 in detail, according to you, then yes, it would be. But if you believe, sir, no, it should be 60 minutes in ATX as well, then my friend, the answer is no. But it would be 30 to 45 minutes. Yes, it would be. Because again, like I said, in TX, the objective is to learn. Here, the objective of these type of things is not learn, is revise. But it is not the case, like it would not be discussed at all, or uh, you would be like, sir, I'm not clear, that is very short, not properly covered. Never ever the case. And if even if you feel for anything, please do let me know. I would love to update at least that particular piece of recording so that everyone would get the benefit. And I don't know what is major, what is minor. So if you ask me the change of rule, so one thing, change of rates, yes, that happens every year. For example, personal allowance X2Y, annual exemption X2Y, basic rate band X2Y, that happens every year. But apart from that, if you ask me conceptual changes, one of the conceptual change which I just shared with you, no basis period concept. So this is something which would cause convenience or ease as compared to difficulty, right? One change is in the concept of VAT. I would not say difficult. I would not say easy. Okay. One change is in corporation tax. Not one change. A significant changes in how the corporation tax to be calculated. If you recall, in your times, corporation tax was straight away. Whatever is the profits, apply 19% straight. Now there are two, if more than this, then this rate, if less than this rate, type of discussion. So if you ask me from a topic perspective, no as such change in IHT, no as such change in capital gains. Uh, Income tax, this is the most highlighting change in income tax. VAT, the late return filing, there is a change. And corporation tax, how the corporation tax to be calculated, there are major changes in that front. But well, uh, Sarem, my friend, very honestly, this is one of the most difficult question for me from today's class. I believe so it would be E Academy, but very honestly, I'm not very much sure. So ideally, it would be from E-Academy. But these recording of live classes, the query session, exam kit session, they would not be available on your E-Academy portal. That's very clear. That would be available on your TSA portal, or I will share a link with you where you will find the recordings. Portal, E-Academy portal. And nothing else? Oh, that's a good question. So a question just to share online ones with you. Why exam kit should be after 9th Feb? Why should not be, let's say, from today? Let's say. Answer to this thing is in ATX, one of the problem is in one single question, you will not see any one tax. Like in one given question, there will be, I'm just saying, there will be income tax, corporation tax, capital gains, inheritance. Now you being a student, how would you decide? How would you decide which question to attempt, which question not to attempt? Or is it encouraged or advised to solve the question in bits and pieces? Bits and pieces means let's do the section A of the question. B, C does not belong to me. You are not in a position to decide this. That's why keeping practice is important. I do agree. That's why my advice is by this time, for practice purpose, should follow the textbook for more practice purposes. But exam kit, that should be started once you are done with all of the syllabus. And you know, for me being a teacher, picking up questions in these query session is also a challenge. Like in this session, I need to pick up a question which has only capital gain, nothing else. Here, I need to pick up a question which has only inheritance and capital gains and capital gains. Here, I need to cover the question which has income tax, inheritance, capital gains, should not be any fourth topic. In the same way as we move forward. So this is something which I can do, but I really do not want this liberty to be in your hands. Both are same, Sarim, be it study hub, be it Kaplan textbook, exam kit. Again, practice makes you perfect. The more you practice, the more concepts would be clear, the more hands-on you will be. So even if it's study hub or uh, Kaplan textbook, I'm perfectly fine with both of these. What I just want is practice, nothing else. Um, so I believe so. No more question. If my belief is incorrect, do let me know. Otherwise, thank you for today. See you guys tomorrow. At least, unless you guys have your WhatsApp group, I request or advise you guys to take the picture at least of this planner so that you would be aware what you are supposed to follow. Only one class a week, Saturday, date, time, right? Apart from that, you need to cover the topic from the recordings. Is it clear? If there is any confusion, please, surprised to hear that question. Nothing further? Okay. Perfect, guys. See you inshallah on next Saturday uh, at 6:30 with this topic of capital gains. Okay. By the way, I hope most of you would be aware my classes generally do not get cancelled. So date time means it would remain same. But being human, if I'm unable to conduct the class on this time, automatically option 2 will be triggered, which will be Sunday 2 or 2:30 p.m. Okay. But obviously, if not in a position to take class, would inform you guys in advance. And along with informing you in advance, will uh, guide you guys the revised class date or time as well. Okay. Perfect. So that was the last thing. I can see one. Sarim, I hope that would be clear. Sorry, I just opened my chat. So I hope that would be clear now. Perfect. So thank you guys. I'll see you inshallah on next Saturday with with capital gains to be done. Any access related issue, please get it sorted ASAP. So I understand. By the way, sorry, one last thing to ask. How many of you guys are working? One, two, full-time student. Okay. Full-time student. Online ones, you working? Sarem working. Preeti, Sonwal working. Uh, Ramin, you left. Okay. So the reason being I was asking this question because the working students cannot afford missing any of the Sunday's time. So grab your admission and related issues right now with Sir Osama or Sir Danish, whoever is available, because your time will be wasted. You will be now, there will be pending work on your part. Okay. So try to get your, sort out your login and related issues at earliest. I would say right now, but up to you. Thank you very much. See you guys inshallah next Saturday. Take care. Allah Hafiz.